June 10th, 2025.
We'll call the city council meeting to order at 7:00 p.m. and we'll rise for pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll move on to number 3, public comment period. Is anybody here for public comment? Hearing none, we'll move on to number 4, approval of the agenda. And for the council, I do have one correction and a couple additions that came last minute here. The 5B claims change in price, $17,112.75. And for item 16, TIF resolution 2025-21, we're going to do a 16B, which covers 2025-22 resolution. And then we will also cover a bid for grant work on ISG, Safe Streets and Roads grant, as well as liquor license approval for the Club New Yorker and Gray Fox. Does anybody else have anything else?
I just have a question under others.
Under others? All right, I'll put you down there. And with nothing else, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the additions and corrections.
I'll second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And that carries. Now we'll move on to number 5, approval of the consent agenda. We can go with items A and B with claims totaling $17,112.75.
Just a question, the top notch turf, $696 for bird and weed control. Are they just spraying city property? Baseball field, okay,
We share that with the baseball field.
okay.
All right, if nobody has anything else, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items A and B totaling $17,112.75.
I'll second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That carries. Move on to number 6, City Attorney Leo Jansen. You have the floor, good sir.
So at this point, I guess the one thing I would say is that just kind of provided a model ordinance for peddling. We could talk about that a little more once we get to that point, but after looking at the past ordinance that I was able to see from the city, it definitely needed a little bit of an update.
And so we could probably cover a little bit of this with number 8, that food truck update. Okay.
Yep.
I know we have Bridget and John Hill here, they might have just a couple of questions for as we go over that piece, but. Anything else for Leo before we keep moving along here? Well, if it's school update, we'll come back to them. Nothing? All right. Number 7, school update. I have nothing. Amy? Nothing.
I've heard nothing.
Yes, so at this moment in time, we're still waiting on what the bank's decision is. Our offer would still stand at this point. Then should they not accept it, it's moving forward with foreclosure from the EDA side of things. So no action, no communication. Mark, you didn't hear anything? Nope. Nope. So silent, but I do have a call scheduled here after the council meeting with the Baseball Association. And try to schedule a group meeting where we'll see who's available to attend that, just to keep them in the loop. And that's all I have for school update. So then number 8, we'll circle back to Leo for our food truck update. You have a wonderful draft ordinance. That's the LMC model ordinance.
Yep.
And did you recommend any changes to that, or what's the cliff notes on the majority of it here?
Yeah, so at this point, there's a few points where the city would be able to have a little discretion on what they want to choose for stuff like hours that peddlers can be out. But I think that the League of Minnesota City hit it pretty well. Issues with the peddler permits and different licenses associated with it can get pretty complex where you can run into different issues with First Amendment or Commerce Clause, so we kind of stick with this one. This will kind of keep us out of any potential weeds later on, where it still talks about a lot of the licensing and hits on the different parts that the city is able to regulate and have been established by a lot of people already.
Yeah, looking on here, they just have to file an application with the city clerk. And then city clerk, that she'll just issue license if they meet set criteria. We just have to create some sort of draft application. It appears correct. If this were to go forward. Trying to see what their recommendations are. And this would cover food trucks, Leo.
Yep,
So food truck would be considered peddler style permanent.
yep, could be a peddler or
Yeah, bring the furniture or peddler permit. And discretionary pieces, do you see anything on here? I mean, we typically don't have a lot of peddlers coming through. I think the majority of people wanting this is gonna be, where I get concerned is hail damage claims. We have them coming in from out of state and all over, and we don't know who they are. So that's where this will be beneficial for us.
Yeah.
And what's the violation if they don't? I didn't catch that on here quick yet. If they don't apply.
Oh, yeah, I have seen that if you violate the code, you will be guilty of a misdemeanor
Okay,
or violate other parts of it, just have the opportunity to revoke the license or just not grant the license in the first place. They don't meet the background check.
background check, we just go through the BCA. I'd assume.
Yep, because the background check will have the different things to look for on the application, and if any of the things are of concern, any of the applications, then it'll give room for denying the application. It talks a little bit more about that throughout the code. With the prohibited activities section 8.
And I can take this copy and if the council likes it, I can work with Diane and just create a draft application and stuff for the council to look at. So I'll have to go through the BCA licensing, which has a whole list of stuff they'll have to fill out, get submitted with a fee associated with it. We have to update our fee schedule, I assume, as well. For that peddler's permit. I don't know what the standard fee has been in other cities, to be honest with you. I'm not sure. But we can circle back on that.
Mr. Mayor, we do have a permit,
Okay.
but it needs to be updated.
Yes. Okay. Do you remember what the cost of that is offhand?
I do
I
not,
don't. So we do have something in place. today.
correct.
So, no, that's perfect. So Leo, if we were in council to move forward with this, we could essentially do a vote to move this forward and then have our hearing at the next meeting. Correct? We got enough time.
I think so.
And I'll get to you one sec. I got you. I'm watching. We do need an update big time for this. So what does the council think?
I hope, I'll make a motion to move forward, updating the peddler's permit soliciting ordinance for the city of Green Up. I'll second.
Perfect. Motion to second. Any further discussion? Oh, we're getting this passed for the first reading. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Same sign. And that carries. So we'll get that moving forward. And for the sake of the Hale family here, I know we've done it in the past for them too. This could take obviously over a month to get completed in there. I know as local residents, and we've left that door somewhat open. They have their license, insurance, and everything they need to operate on city property or public property, I should say, on occasions during the summer months. I would, and Leo might not like me for this, but I would make a motion to allow the Hale family permission to discuss with Diane at the city to have a temporary permit to proceed with their food truck until we complete this ordinance, because they've been coming to every meeting for the last, what are we at, 2 months now? Just so that they can do what they have had planned. So we've done it once in the past or twice in the past at least. So everything that's on here is what they're already following, to be honest.
I'll second that.
Motion second, any further discussion?
How are we gonna address anybody else that wants to?
Same
temporarily
process.
then?
Yep, they come over today and first for local residents, that's what I'd leave it as while we're going through this peddler permit ordinance piece. Cause I know they've been routinely coming here and asking questions, Leo, they've been on top of it, and they've been following really what you brought forth, so. I would like to at least try to get that approved for them temporarily so they can proceed. And what are you making again?
Slushies and snow cones.
See, sounds great. It's summertime. You don't want this to happen in the fall. You won't sell as much.
So the price. We just crush it.
All right, so we had the motion a second. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same side. Then that carries. And then if you just want to touch base with Diane on that. And you're squared away. And then I'd recommend coming to the next meeting to discuss and look at this model ordinance that we have. If you would not
Am I
mind,
still able to ask questions though?
of course.
Okay.
And do you have any now?
I do.
Lay it on us.
Okay, so is this for nonprofit and for profit?
So for this point, I guess I would need to come back with an answer for that. I'm not positive at this.
Yeah, I
time.
didn't see any stipulation as to whether they're nonprofit or for profit at all. At all. Yeah, I was looking at that too.
I just remember you guys saying that we had to hold and not do anything, but then you had a food truck out here.
The Lions Club,
Yeah,
they were working on private property.
but that's what I'm asking. So if it's private property, we don't need a permit. Correct, because that's what was discussed
Right.
last year, right?
That's how I'd look at it too. I mean, it's private property, but you're also operating a
That's what I'm saying.
food truck with it. So you'd have
Private or
to
not.
adhere to state laws. And their food and liquor licensing, I don't think they're selling booze out of it, but they're at least they're selling food out of it. I think they have to have their health department of health licensing for that food truck
I'm
even
saying, as long
operate.
as we're on private property, we do not need a peddler or license.
Yeah, the peddler license would be activity on public property.
Okay,
Now, I would truly have to look to make sure there wouldn't be a violation for you guys on private. I wouldn't think there would be. I just don't want to quote you right now and say without double checking. And say, yeah, you're good to go. Come to find out, let's say like the Department of Health or somebody comes out.
towns do that too,
Yeah,
you know, I'm just saying, I just wanna make sure that that's clear that it's. You know, that it's, if they wanna sell on, you know, down at the ball field, anybody down there that has to have. You know what I mean, that peddler's permit. And then making sure if it is private property, you don't have to have it.
right. And I think Leo can help us look into that and circle back with an answer on that, or once we get an answer, which might touch and base with them. That way you have some.
Know that it was, we brought this up last year in a meeting about private and non-private, you guys said that. So I'm just.
Right.
making
Yeah,
sure, so. I
and
just like to follow by the rules on it when it comes to that.
Right, and I'm always one for. Also making it clear that you as a food truck owner would have to follow the laws that are set forth for your operation too, and I don't know what they are, to be honest, I'm sure, I hope so, I really do. We have faith in you, and I'm sure they're very strict, so, yeah, for the city side of things, we'll look into it and get you a solid answer on operating it on private property. On a temporary basis, because I assume you're not gonna be set up day and night, functionally like a 24/7 business, so. We will-
Kind of people that are on this too, so we appreciate it.
No, we appreciate that. Anything else on that?
I think that's good.
Perfect. Alright. Have fun with snow cones and stuff, guys.
Thank you.
Kids will like it, I hope. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Alright, we will move on to number 9, EDA updates.
We have been busy with these development agreements for strategic projects. EDA on Monday approved the development agreement for Schawn Enclave's housing development. We also need to follow back around and approve a development agreement yet and particularly in Marine. We had made some changes to the development agreement. It just needs to go back to the lender. It's an SBA loan. They had some concerns about language in the development agreement. So we need to get that back. Back over to them so that we can hopefully get that approved, probably a special EDA meeting. We also talked about the Cloverleaf concert series. So we've received, I believe it was about $11,000 and $9,000 in a grant and another $2,000 in donations so far for it. We had 65 people at the last event. At the last week, it was the last week on the 25th of May.
That's an amazing number too.
It is, it's definitely growing.
I think that might actually be low. I think it counts 65 adults, 12 children.
So even higher, well, that's great, because when we do our reporting, we do separate adults and the children, how many adults and how many children were present at the event. And we have another one tomorrow night,
Yes,
5:30, we have. Is it US2?
I think it is US 2.
They'll be
It's like
performing
+2.
the veterans, yep, at the Veterans Park. The planning and zoning meeting was pretty quiet. They were going to swear in our new member, but they did not come. So we did not swear them in. We began talking about orderly annexation. So we're going to be working on that for probably several years. It's not a quick process, but we do wanna talk about growth for the city. Hopefully we'll be selling our industrial park lots with wide open range, taking the next one out there. So we'll need to be looking for more land, and with the new housing development coming in, the city is continuing to grow. We talked about the Safe Roads and Streets for All grant that came to my attention, and it was decided to move that forward to CPIC. And CPIC met on last Thursday, and voted to move it to City Council. So there will be on the agenda tonight, it was added a quote from ISG to write that proposal, and my recommendation would be to go with the quote from ISG. It's due in a couple weeks, and we need engineers to work on this grant application. And it is a reasonable quote.
Yep, and we'll cover that quote under other items. Everybody should have a copy of that.
We have two resolutions, the TIF resolution for the TIF district, which is 2025-21. And then we have the development agreement for Schawn to pass, which is 2025-22. Those are further down on the agenda. And once the TIF, so that everyone knows, once the 2025-21, which is the TIF district, is approved, they will be able to begin pulling permits. And I would ask that the city engineer just review the permit when they begin for the road construction.
Excellent. Anything else for Amy? Questions? Good job. I know it's been a long road.
Couple weeks here.
You made it. You made it.
These resolutions that you approved, there's a lot of work.
There's a lot of work.
The agreements and the resolutions behind the scenes.
Yes, no, and it's noticed and definitely appreciated. We will catch those here as we proceed. Thank you, Amy. I'll move on for tree committee update.
Actually, I'm gonna turn that one over to Harrison. I saved that one for Harrison. There was some concerns brought up at the tree committee that Harrison will share with the council.
Yeah, so first thing was the trees, the ash trees have all been medicated.
Yep.
So that's our first thing there. But then we started talking about boulevard trees, and it started a conversation of boulevard trees, easements, right of ways, all that stuff. So we're gonna be looking into exactly kind of what those setbacks, easements, right of ways are, what the actual numbers for that would be. And then looking into if we have any ordinances that kind of deal with those situations already or similar situations. Because we have, there's other things to consider, like, okay, if we're digging, how does that work? The city needs to dig or the city needs to get to it. And then starting to identify, okay, what falls on the homeowner, what falls on the city when things are located within those boundaries. Once the tree committee kind of reaches a decision, we're planning on then submitting our findings to CPIC so they can expand on a little bit further. Tree committee will be focusing mostly on trees, but then CPIC can round it out, make sure it's all in alignment with the comprehensive plan. And then the plan would be to then bring that to city council.
It'll be like a policy, a guiding document for staff and council members. So that when there's questions about this tree needs trimming. It's in the right of way, this tree needs trimming, it's in the, the backyard by the alley. We all have one document to reference so that there's not different answers coming from different people. And it can be shared with the public. It's very open communication for everyone and it's clear for everyone.
Yep, I think that was it.
Appreciate it. Then number 12, park board update.
Our next meeting's next Wednesday. One of the things we'll plan on discussing is reviewing or establishing some park rules. So that we can get that formalized and maybe get a couple of the big ones on some signs in every park for everybody's awareness. Other updates regarding the stairs at Lions Park, the painting project or the repair and painting project. Voss Construction, I believe, has started some of the repairs, but the painting is delayed due to weather. And then also last meeting, I brought up the sinking concrete on the south side of Lions Park. Up where the bench is over on 25 here. The concrete's not actually sinking.
It was built, right?
It was, designed with like a 1 or 2 inch step down. But if you step off of that towards the park, there's a 1 or 2 foot drop off. So People Service did put up some tape there, some posts. So hopefully people notice that and don't step off of that and fall.
Would it be prudent to maybe put a little railing there in the future, try to get something there so we don't have to caution tape up with the fence post?
Because those are designed to be lifted and relocated. I learned all about this from people talking about, well, that's how it's supposed to be.
I think the benches you can lift and relocate.
Well, even that concrete pad,
I didn't look that close.
yeah, you can apparently put it on forks and lift it, but Mark, can you put railings? Can you even drill into that concrete, I assume?
It was thick enough.
Yeah.
Cause it would probably make it look a little better too than having the caution tape and the
Sure.
fence posts there, if we could figure out some type of railing. Cause I think you really need 42 inches is cause you just need it just a little waist height, so somebody can't really
Right.
fall over it easy.
Well, and it's facing a downward hill, so I think it's wise to look into.
Actually, that was a suggestion by People Service when they were
Was it?
putting up the tape.
So that would be for every pad. There's so many we have up there right now. There's two or,
Well, it's one big one and then
yeah, I think there's some other ones up there
there's
too.
the other way.
There's one other one on this side, but
Okay.
I guess I didn't look at the condition of that. I guess the question there then though is if MnDOT's coming through to redo the sidewalks there, would this be included?
No, that one would not. That was a donation, I believe, years and years ago. While they were on God before Mark and I were on council, they were up then, I believe, at Lions Park. I think it was a Lions donation from many moons ago, so that would not be included.
Okay.
But the railing, even if that's added, those can be relocated while they're doing the sidewalk, so. They can just be picked up with a bobcat. Well, would you mind calling some concrete people and seeing on a couple bids for putting up railing or have
Railing?
People Service?
Sure.
For all the pads up there?
Mhm.
Thank you.
That's all I had.
Thank you, sir. And number 13, budget date reminder that July 14th, 2025 is our budget meeting, 7 p.m.
6,
This one is a 6. I forget that.
it's a Monday.
Monday, July 14th, 6 P.M. And then number 14, website, Pixon bio. Go ahead, Harrison.
Yeah, last time we had said, take a look at it, let me know any feedback. Last I checked, I'd only gotten feedback from one person. That was to kind of go with a short bio, 1 or 2 sentences. So then I think there's kind of 2 questions here. One for the other suggested updates, is everyone cool with those? And then for the council members, does the rest of the council members want to put in a picture and a short little bio, and we'll kind of make them all look the same?
I'm not the most photogenic, but I think it's nice to have on there. I really do. So that people put a face to the name around town instead of just seeing us at a council meeting. I don't know. Schawn, are you able to smile pretty?
No.
Yeah, we won't make it mandatory by any means, but it would look pretty good on the website, I think.
Yeah.
Who's the photographer, Harrison? I don't know who's, I'm not good at that.
Can we just submit our own?
Yes, I would assume that'd be okay, right, Harrison?
We can either submit our own, or one of these days, just snap a couple pictures next to the
That's true.
shamrock.
So if anyone needs help with photos, just let Diane know and we can find someone to do that. Otherwise, do you have a deadline that you'd like the next few weeks at least, or I should say at the most? Shouldn't be too hard to secure.
Yeah, that'd be good, and then I can get that update.
By next council meeting. Excellent. Thank you, sir. And then number 15, street projects, final property solutions. That,
They are looking for a draw on funds for the project.
yep. A draw on funds. Do we need to vote
So
on
I
that?
believe we should probably have a motion for that,
Yeah.
even though
Yeah.
it'll be seen on the claims
Right,
as,
just for consistency's sake, yes, I'll make a motion to move forward with the draw for final property solutions for the street projects.
I'll second.
Motion a second, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, that carries. And the moment we've all been waiting for Ulhas here. We'll get this rolling, my friend. All right, so we'll start with TIF resolution 2025-21. And we'll have to go in order here, followed by 2025-22. So we'll start with 21. Like Amy said, a lot of work's been put forth into this. It's passed through so many hands throughout the last few months. Almost a year, hasn't it been? It's been over a year. Yeah, it's been a long time.
Todd is available online.
He is here with us
If
today.
anyone has any TIF questions. There he is.
There. Oh, you're muted, Ted.
Todd, we can hear you.
Let me try to help you. I might be able to unmute you.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
We hear you.
I was gonna say, I heard through LinkedIn it's the mayor's birthday. Am I right or wrong?
You're right. You're right.
All right. Well, happy birthday to you.
Thanks, Todd. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and then the resolution to approve the TIF district. Once we get that done too, we will certify the district. The deadline is June 30 coming up here. So then that'll activate the TIF on that. So when the developer starts to build out there, then we've got a good low base value there. So,
Excellent.
yep.
Thanks for being here for this, Todd. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Unless the council has anything, I'll make a motion to move forward with TIF resolution 2025-21.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, and this will be a roll call vote. Schawn?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
I'm a yes.
Yes.
And yes?
Yes.
Perfect, that carries. Then we will be moving on to or item number, what do we call this one? A resolution approving development agreement with Sharda Enclave Properties, US LLC related to Lake Erin Estates, PID 34.0179.400. And this will be resolution number 2025-22.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2025-22.
I will second.
Motion a second. Any further discussion? And it's a roll call vote. Schawn.
Yes.
Mark.
Yes.
I'm a yes.
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 And a yes, and that carries. Congratulations, Woolhaus. We're looking forward to all these homes getting built in Green Isle. Let us, yeah, and you gotta let us know when you come through with the scissors to,
No, we'll talk it tomorrow.
yeah. see?
I have builder sitting here and road guy sitting here, but I don't know what is the process for the permits and all that. I'll take offline with Amy.
Yes, yep, that'll be great.
Thank for afternoon, everybody.
Yep, no,
It's like I made half the river, now to cross remaining river.
right? It's a big project. No, congratulations. No, we're glad you're looking at Green Isle to develop, so we appreciate all the work you've done on this as well. Okay, we'll move on to our other items. This next up, we'll start with our ISG Safe Streets and Roads Grant. It's the professional services proposal for City of Green Isle Safe Streets and Roads for All for the grant assistance. This is the grant that was discussed by Amy. I think it'd be wonderful to have the city engineers working on this because they can speak the speak when it comes to the grant proposal here. The scope of work described within the proposal for compensation of $3,000, and that covers anticipated reimbursable expenses for travel time, mileage expenses, and printing costs are all included in that $3,000. And we'll have to put a $1,500 grant application. Right, 50% of the total fee or $1,500 shall be invoiced upon submittal of the grant application. So I think that's a very, very fair deal for a grant such as this. It's a pretty big one.
Mhm.
And we'll have a resolution. If this carries, we'll have a resolution at the next council meeting to keep moving this along, so.
Include with the application.
Yep.
Mhm.
Optimistic and hoping it all works in our favor. So I'll make a motion to move forward with ISG for the professional services proposal for grant delivery.
I'll second.
Motion to second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign, and that carries. Then we'll move on for liquor licensing. First one is the Club New Yorker. And it's all standard liquor licensing applications.
So move on there.
All right, we have a motion. I'll second that. Any further discussion? All those in favor for Club New Yorker liquor license approval? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That carries. And then moving on for the Gray Fox.
Also make a motion to approve.
Perfect.
I'll second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And that carries. And lastly, we have Schawn.
I got two things. The street projects for Final Property Solution, they said when they came by and marked that, I talked to them. They said the 16th is what they're planning on starting to rip stuff up. I don't know where they're starting.
Oh, like
They're
6
gonna-
days from now.
Yeah, they're gonna
Okay.
start on the 16th, give or take rain,
Right,
weather.
right.
That's, I just wanted to let you know that. And then my question is, the RS fiber stuff, is there any updates on any of that? Okay. So we wanna-
Mark, have you had any emails
No.
come through? It's been silent, like
Okay.
strangely silent. Leo, have you kind heard anything on the RS Fiber Co-op? Probably not, yeah.
Not heard anything.
Let's say it's been very quiet. Last we heard, we had put forth money for that bankruptcy attorney to look at what it means. And yeah, I don't know, but internet's still live for all of us. And it hasn't failed like they said, so we'll see. But that is a great question to ask, and maybe I'll reach out to, I think it's Julianne, and see where that's sitting, so I can have an update for us at the next meeting. I'm sure she'll say the same thing, but we did our part. Anything else? All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, and meeting's adjourned at 7:35 p.m.